This is The Fifth Estate, a conversation between young African scholars from the Fort Hall School of Government and Professor Mutahi Ngunyi. For the last 2 weeks, we have not been nice to William Ruto. We have told him that he is campaigning for a position that will not be there in 2022. And for chasing the wind, we have said that Ruto is a blind man in a dark room chasing a black cat which is not there. But this week at the Fort Hall School of Government, we have started looking for the problems in our solutions. We asked ourselves this: could we be wrong? Is creating the executive prime minister really a walk in the park? And from this questioning, we concluded that Ruto is not without a point. Maybe there's something he's seeing that we are not seeing. Let me explain. Kenyans do not understand what a parliamentary system is. But more fundamentally, they do not understand the principle of proportional representation. If Ruto is not wrong, it is because he will use the proportional representation card to scuttle the referendum. Consider how.
Moving from a presidential system to a parliamentary system is moving from direct democracy to indirect democracy. Direct democracy is where every Kenyan gets to vote for the president directly. Indirect democracy is where the president and the prime minister are voted in by members of parliament. And this is how it works. Instead of holding a violent presidential election every 5 years, we vote for MPs only. Then the leader of the biggest party or coalition of parties in parliament automatically becomes the executive prime minister or head of government. The head of state or ceremonial president is then elected by the MPs or appointed by the biggest party or coalition. This is how Robert Mugabe became executive prime minister and Canon Banana the ceremonial president in Zimbabwe. In fact, the prime minister appointed the president on behalf of the party. And this is what Raila is proposing. If Uhuru is made the executive prime minister and Raila the fifth president of Kenya, although ceremonial, country will transform. We will kill politics and the anxiety of presidential elections every 5 years. But there is a problem. If the MPs will determine the head of government and the head of state, are they representative enough?
Let us summon the evidence. Then the verdict will be yours. You will tell us whether MPs represent Kenyans proportionally or whether they represent the tyranny of minorities. Wajir and Garissa counties have a population of 380,000 people each, and they have 6 MPs each. But Mombasa County has 1.3 million people with 6 MPs as well. Yet Mombasa has 1 million more people than Wajir and Garissa. This is not proportional. In a presidential system where every Kenyan votes directly for the president, this is okay. But in a parliamentary system where MPs vote for an executive prime minister and a ceremonial president, this is fraud. The MPs who elect the prime minister and the ceremonial president must have close to equal number of voters they represent. For instance, Kiambu County has a population of 2.8 million people. Kakamega has a population of 1.7 million people. Yet both of them have 12 constituencies, although Kiambu has 1 million more people than Kakamega. If we do a parliamentary system where MPs vote for the executive, Garissa will have advantage over Mombasa. Kakamega will have advantage over Kiambu. This will be the tyranny of minorities.
Parliament cannot vote for a head of government and a head of state if its representation is not proportional. Mlolongo ward in Machakos County, for instance, has 45,000 voters. Samburu North and Samburu West constituencies have only 46,000 voters combined. Mlolongo ward is therefore equivalent to 2 Member of Parliament positions in Samburu. Fact: if we had proportional representation, we would have given the Mlolongo MCA 2 Member of Parliament positions. Then, we would have converted the Samburu Members of Parliament into half MCAs. Fact. But maybe Duale is a better example. This man is the majority leader in Parliament. Big man. Yet Garissa Township, his constituency, has only 54,000 voters. If Duale was from Kiambu, he would have been an MCA from a ward called Kamenu in Thika Town. It has 51,000 voters. The Kamenu MCA is not leader of majority, but he represents as many people as Duale in Garissa Township and 3 times as many people as the Member of Parliament from Turkana East. What is our point? If we introduce a parliamentary system, we must introduce proportional representation. If Lamu County has 69,000 voters only, we must convert it into a ward. Parliamentary system must not produce tyranny of minorities.
The country is caught between 2 options. The first option is to continue with the presidential system we have today and face possibilities of civil war every 5 years. And this includes a Maraga ruling that will cost us 1 trillion shillings every 5 years. The second option is what Raila is offering. Raila wants to separate head of state from head of government in 2022. As head of state, he wants to become ceremonial president, a figurehead. Then Uhuru becomes head of government or executive prime minister. Then the benefits of the handshake can continue. But here is the problem to the Raila solution. In 2007, Mzee Kibaki's votes were more than Raila's. Yet, Raila had around 100 MPs and Mzee Kibaki had only 40 MPs. With Kibaki having more votes than Raila, Raila got more MPs than Kibaki. If we had an executive prime minister, Parliament would have made Raila head of government and would have sent Kibaki, the winner, home. Then Raila would have appointed anyone he wished as president. In sum, an executive prime minister is not possible without proportional representation. Every MP must represent the same number of voters.
The referendum is a paradox. If we fail to hold it, we will live in perpetual fear every 5 years. But if we hold it, it will open up issues we do not want to deal with. If we adopt a parliamentary system, we must adopt a proportional representation system as well. And this is an uncomfortable conversation we are not prepared to have. For instance, I respect Duale. He's the only MP I follow on Twitter because the others are clinically incompetent in my view. But you cannot have an MP like Duale representing the same number of people like an MCA in Kiambu or in Umoja in Nairobi. We should have the courage to make Duale an MCA or make the Kiambu MCA an MP like Duale. This is called representation that is proportional. If the executive prime minister and the ceremonial president be voted in by parliament, the MPs of vote cannot carry the same weight as MCAs. If the parliamentary system is confusing to Kenyans, therefore, proportional representation is even more confusing, and an honest conversation about the two should be held. The only people who can do this, who have a stature to do this, in my view, to hold this conversation, is Uhuru and Raila.
And now, our final thought. It is about the prodigal son in the book of Elohim the Almighty. In this story, Raila is the prodigal son, and Ruto is a brother who did everything right. And Uhuru is not the father. The father is Mother Kenya. Once upon a time, the prodigal son squandered all he had. Then one day he saw himself in as president. But instead of going to State House, he started eating food with the pigs. Hungry and desperate, the prodigal son decided to go back to his father, also known as Mother Kenya. He did a handshake and the country forgave him. We held a big party for him, gave him a royal robe and the ring of a prince. But his brother was unhappy. All he did was compete and complain. And the book of Elohim was not kind to him. What is our lesson here? The Ruto brother had all the opportunities before him. He did not see them. He only saw them when Raila the prodigal son returned. Raila the prodigal son is now the beloved son. And Ruto the sensible son is now the whining son. What a tragedy.